Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi and today we are going to see one more function and that function is sub-axis. Now previously in the last video what we have seen a parameter in the transpose function. That parameter was axis function, right? Now today we are going to see one function. Now sub-axis is one another function, right? This is not a parameter of anything, this is another function. And today we are going to see this function, that basically how this sub-axis function works, right? How does it helps and basically what are the you can say functions whatever it performs, right? Now let's quickly jump onto one node and let's have a quick look over the syntax and all the things, and we will just write the code in the practical. Fine. So for that I here just let me write and put my heading swap axis. Fine. So this basically swap axis is one of the functions which we are just going to discuss about today. Now basically what it is used for. So basically what it does, it interchange two dimension or axis of array. Okay, so basically this is the definition for the swap axis function, that basically it interchanges two dimension or axis of array. Fine. This totally works as we have seen in the axis function. The function of both these are same, but there is a very little difference between them. So first let's see what is the syntax, what are the things that we can do, and after that we will just see that what is the difference between that transpose and the swap axis. Fine. Now fine. Let's move towards the syntax for this, and here let me write as syntax and let's start writing the further things. Now what I have here is that syntax is I would just write numpy dot swap axis. Okay, so basically numpy I'm writing, but what in the program we write np. Np is the short form for writing that, right? So I would write numpy dot swap axis, and in the bracket I would write my array name. Okay, so here I just mentioned array, and what else I have here, I would write comma. So I'm just writing down. I would write my axis1 and my axis2 values. Fine. So basically, what is the definition which I just told you above, that interchange of two dimensions or axis of array, right? Basically the swap axis is now just mention one thing here as two. Fine. Interchange two dimension or axis of array. So that is why here we have these two parameters, that are axis1 and that are axis2. So whatever you will give in axis1 and axis2, that will be treated as the values for these parameters. Fine. This is the syntax for this. Now let's quickly move to our PyCharm and let's have a proper look that basically how we do the things in this sub-axis. So whenever we just use a function in the Numpy library, what we need to do is that we need to import our Numpy library, right? So I would write import Numpy as np, right? So this np is the short form for writing the Numpy array, and like if you're just following all of the playlist from the very starting, so you must have got a proper idea. And I always repeat all of these things in my every video, each and every single video, that basically why are we writing this import Numpy as np, and basically what does np means, right? So I will just tell you once again this time, that basically import numpy as np. Now numpy is one of my libraries which I am dealing in this tutorial and this playlist, and np is the short form for that library. If we just want to use this library, what we write that library name using the import function, that is import numpy as np. Now what about the help function? So inside this help function I would write np dot, and here I would use the swap axis. Fine. So now I would just, okay, let's write the correct spelling, a swap axis. Now I would just run that thing, and let's see that what are the things that are constituted in the swap axis function. Fine, let's go above, and yeah, so have a look over the this one, the syntax which I have just told you right now. So the syntax was, I just told you that numpy dot swap axis, right? And in the bracket was a comma axis1 comma axis2. Fine, this is the thing. Now what is this interchanging two axes of an array? As I told that what it is used for, it is used for the interchange of two axes of an array. Fine. Now let's quickly describe what these parameters are. A is array underscore like input array, axis 1 is my first axis and axis 2 is my second axis. Now what does this function returns to us? So this function returns to us an nd array. Fine, this is whole done. And the following we have some examples, so we'll be seeing that examples on our own for now. Okay, now let's just do one thing. Let me comment this help function, and here, okay, fine. Now what I would do, I would just declare one array, and let's say I would just take a variable a, and I would write np dot, I would write array. Fine. So inside this I would just declare some array, and let's say my array is 1 comma 2. So this is basically I'm declaring my 2D array. Fine. So basically this is how we declare a 2D array. So I have just declared np.array, and inside this I just mentioned the values 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 3, 4. This is done. Now if I just want to print this, so I would write print and then a, and as soon as I would run this, I would get my 2D array as the output form. It just have a list. This is my 2D array, that 2 dimensions, 2 rows and 2 columns. Fine. This is done. Now what is we are just discussing about the Swapaxes function, right? So if I just want to use that Swapaxes function, what I would write print. Here I would use my np, as we have just mentioned in the syntax, that numpy dot Swapaxes. Okay. So here I have swap access. Now what here for like first what we're doing, we're just entering the array name. So let's say I just entered a. Now what was the access 1? Now what is, I just want to let's say I just want to mention as 0. Fine. And let's say I just want to mention 1 as my access 2. So what I would be getting, I would be getting the same result that it was like C. Now have a look. This is my 2D array, right? I have got one of my 2D arrays, but see, the values are interchanged. This 3 has come into the place of 2 and this 2 is come into the place of 3. So what was that? Interchanging of axis is called sub-axis. So basically what does this sub-axis function do? It was just 2-dimension. Basically what it was doing, it was interchanging of 2-dimension of axis of array, right? So it has done that thing. Okay, now let's have one more idea here. Let's write print, and here let's say in the bracket I would write np dot, I would write Swapaxes, and inside this I would pass a comma 1 comma 0. Fine. Now let's say I would just pass a comma 1 comma 0. Now just let's run that, and now have a look. I again got that thing only, right? So this is how basically what is this used for? It is used for interchanging the thing. So just let's remove this thing now. Let's take one more array. Let's say here I would make a variable that is b, and now here I would just mention a array np dot array. Fine. And inside this what I would do, I would just mention a 1D array. Fine. So I would just write 1 comma 2 comma 3. Fine. So 1 comma 2 comma 3. This is one of my array which I just mentioned here. Now if I just this one, let's do one thing, just put it in this brackets, and yeah, let's go on. So basically if I just want to print this, what I would do, I would write let b, and let's comment the above things for a while, and okay, done. So here I would just run this one for once. Okay, so let me go upside a little more. Okay, fine. So this is my array which I have just declared 1, 2, 3, 1 dimension array. Fine. Now what is the other thing which I just want to see? Let's say if I want to just print the shape. Okay, I would write print, and then I would write b dot shape. Fine. I said shape p. Now I would run this one for once more, and so my shape is 1 comma 3, right? 1 row and 3 columns. Fine. 1 comma 3 is one of my shapes for this thing. Now what else I need to do if I just write the Swapaxes down, right? So what I would do, I would write print, inside this bracket I would write np dot Swapaxes. Fine. Np dot Swapaxes, and in the bracket let's say I would pass a comma 1 comma 0. Fine. A comma 1 comma, sorry, here let's write that b, because I just take that b. Fine. Now when I would just run my program, see here what I got. I just got my altered array, that is I just got 1, 2, 3 in a horizontal way, but basically what I was getting 1, 2, 3 in a very single line. Okay, so now if I would just take the shape for this thing, the shape would be 3 comma 1. Basically there is an interchange of the dimensions, right? So this is the thing basically how does it happens. And just let me write one more here, np dot Swapaxes, and in the bracket let's say I would write b comma 0 comma 1. Okay, 0 comma 1. Fine. Now let's quickly run that thing, and yeah, let's have a look. I just got again the same thing, but what I was doing, I was just like interchanging the dimensions. This is the whole concept behind the Swapaxes function, right? So let's go to OneNote for a while, and let's here just see one more definition. That what was the definition? The definition was interchange 2-dimension or axis of array, right? So basically what is happening here, the dimensions are being changed, right? This is the whole concept. Now as I was telling you that we will just see that what is the difference between the transpose and the axis thing, right? So let me change a color, and let me just take a purple one from the side. Now here I would just write transpose. Fine, this is my transpose, and then other than that this is my num. Okay, so I'm so sorry, I just started writing num. Right? Let's take it to Swapaxes. Fine. Okay, Swapaxes. Fine. Now, what we were doing in transpose? So basically, the difference between transpose and swap access is that in transpose, let's write that thing. In transpose, you can arrange all the dimensions. Okay, you can just arrange all the dimensions in transpose. But what about in swap access? In swap access, you can rearrange only two dimensions. Okay, so this is the concept about the transpose and swap access. That basically what is the difference between both of these. So basically in the transpose one, what you can do, in transpose you can arrange all the dimensions, right? In transpose you can arrange all of the dimensions, but you cannot do the same thing in the swap access. In swap access you can rearrange only and only two dimensions, right? As I just told you the examples for two dimensions only, so you can just rearrange only two dimensions, but in transpose you can rearrange all of the dimensions, right? So this was the concept behind using this transpose and behind using the swap access. So basically when you just want to rearrange only two dimensions, then you can use the swap access. Other than that, you can just have a use of the transpose function, right? So I hope I just made this thing clear to you, that what about the transpose, what is the difference between transpose and swap access, and basically how we use the swap access function using some practical examples, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye.